All right, hello, welcome everyone. I hope you guys had a successful week and blase, a lot of good productive things, but you guys already know it's Wednesday and it's another episode of Reflections with VAL, and we have a new guest, as we do every single episode, to get to know them, their craft, what they do, where they come from, and what's the purpose of everything, really. So I'm just going to have Jason introduce himself and where you guys can find him.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Jason Felix. I'm an actor, I guess comedian. You can find me on Instagram. My username. My username is Sonlix, Sonlix. That's where you can find me on it. I'm just usually on Instagram, yeah. I do TikToks too, but I don't want to talk about it.
Sonlix is your last name or something?
Sonlix is actually a fusion of my names, my first and last name. So Jason Felix, Sonlix.
Oh, okay. It has a little ring to it. Yeah. Now, we both met on One Mic Day.
Yes.
Right. And how long you've been with One Mic Day?
I've been ever since they started their showcases. They do their showcases like twice a month.
Right.
So I've been trying to go as frequent as possible. I've been to at least 4 or 5 of them, and they've all been great. Like I love like showcases. I love seeing new talent.
Me too.
I love seeing performances. I love seeing performers. You know, them in their element, whether it's their first time or their 27th time. Like, that's what I love to see. I love performers in all levels of, you know, I guess expertise or experience.
Right.
So going to the shows is always great. And then they have the venue, which is the 512 on Anderson Avenue in Cliffside Park.
Yeah.
That bar is really nice too. It's really nice. It's intimate. Right. And they serve like dope food and drinks too.
So you've done this from the beginning, or you kind of came later on?
So I actually one day, DJ one day, I met him in high school. We grew up in the same town.
Oh, wow.
He was upperclassman. Yeah, he was an upperclassman. He's closer to my brother's age. I have an older brother and a younger brother.
Yeah.
He's closer to my brother's age. But I met him in high school. We kind of weren't like really buddy, but like once the time came around, we were always in the same area and the same expertise, like, you know, with creatives and musicians and stuff like that. And there were like other showcase happening around the area. I saw that he was doing one, so I went to go check it out, and I support, and he supports me too. So like it's a nice relationship we have with each other.
I love that when creatives aren't afraid to support each other and share and compare, and then even if we could just both come together and make the plan or the idea even better, why not?
That's what it is. A lot of the showcases, I've met so many people and was able to collaborate with them in other projects. You know, it's a lot of networking you do at these showcases.
Yeah, you're right. You have shout out to everyone, please.
Word up.
If you're an up and coming artist or anything, actor,
check out showcases anywhere in general. Really, there's so many places that do it, but there's few that do it locally. So this one was very like centered to local New Jersey talent. Right. So this is like more of like a New York vibe outside of New York. A lot of people, you know, they either don't want to take a bus or they don't have a car to cross the bridge or whatever it is. This place is really something you can really focus and practice your art and really just try to bounce it off other creatives. You find people who, you know, really, can you curse on this?
Yeah.
Sorry.
They
really fuck with you, you know, they really fuck with you. And then, you know, they support you. And then, you know, again, a lot of it nowadays, as you may know, is around social media. So followers matter. Most of it just to get it out there a little bit more,
right.
Network a little bit more, get your content out, branch out and stuff like that. And then you have just a lot of different venues and social media platforms so you can expand your following on and your work.
Yeah, that's 100% accurate. I think that's what I did when I started my journey with Reflections. I didn't know where I was going to start. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I had a vision. I had a passion for 3 topics, and I was like, let me just go to events and see who I meet, and let's see if I can get a guest. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Also, like, I've already known a couple people because I think I went a year with just going to event after event after event And I liked going because, again, Jason, I would have not met Jason if I did not go to these events. That's another thing, right? Like, we're a product of that. Yeah. We're the product of the network, and we just happened to see an event or a flyer. Let's support. Mm-hmm. Go. We networked and found people. So, like, that's just how it works. And here we are doing an interview. Yeah. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's never, it always happens that way. And I love that about life and creativity. Now, you're an actor mainly.
Yes.
That's what you go by. And now, like, I want to go to the beginning of, like, how this all started, you know, like Jason, like Nenito, you know, like little kid Jason.
Okay, yeah.
Growing up, first of all, like, did you always have this innate passion for this, or it kind of just developed throughout the years?
So it truly developed as I was very, very young. My family was the type of family that would host family parties. Mm-hmm. And since I was not a child, but, like, my dad loves to dance. And I learned how to dance from him, and I was dancing at a very young age, like 3 years old. Oh. But it's very like merengue, bachata, cumbia, salsa, all that stuff like that. Not really salsa when I was young because I just perfected it like
because there's like 3 or 4 different like kind of salsas here, you know.
Right. So like just getting like comfortable with being with people and dancing with them, and I'd be with all the babysitters dancing like this with my hands up, looking up at them, and their boyfriends in the corner like. You know?
Oh, so you were like a mujeriego from the beginning.
Well, I guess so, but it was more like, you know, come dance with me, come dance with me. Like, okay, I'll go dance with them. Like, that's what really would be it. So there's a lot of family parties, and then that transitioned into high school. And I was part of the Latin dance club.
Oh, so was I. Yeah. I was a part of a Spanish club in the 7th grade, and like we were supposed to introduce Hispanic heritage, influences, songs, music, plays, anything of that nature. So it was like a glee club, but a Spanish glee club.
Oh, that's fun. I like that.
So that's what I was a part of. That was a little introduction. But yeah, that's cute. So it was like kind of like that, or
it was more. Yeah, it was more like centered around dance for sure. Because I started my freshman year, and I literally stayed until my senior year. I actually became the Latin dance choreographer starting freshman year.
Oh wow!
Because my teacher was my Spanish teacher, and she was the head of the club, and she was just like, "Hey guys, if you guys know how to dance or know anyone who knows how to dance, please sign up to my club. We're gonna have so much fun. We dance, we have fun, blah 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 blah." I'm like, "Great, let me check it out." So I checked it out, and I just became famous from that in my high school. From like, "Oh, you're the guy in the Latin dance. Oh, you're the guy at the assemblies. You're the guy who does the spins and blah blah blah." There was at one point when it came to my senior year, where girls were fighting for me to be their partner.
Oh wow!
And I was just like, I'm not choosing. I don't care. Just give me someone to dance with, and I'll be fine. So they had to debate that amongst themselves, and that's what it came down to. Because I was like, I'm not doing that.
And you didn't really take ballroom lessons?
No, it's all growing up. It's all street dancing, baby. That's it. That's all
it's
it was.
The best way to go.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, I you learn so much from watching other people dance, trying moves yourself, and once you get the rhythm, it's like you can just insert different moves here and there.
Do you remember, like, till this day, do you like know one of the songs that take you back to those moments in your life when you were like dancing and having that?
Oh yeah.
Like what was one of them?
Come on, El Baile del Viper by Oro Sólido. Oro Sólido. Oro who? Oro Sólido. Y en inglés, solid gold. Y otra vez, solid gold.
That's so true. Like that's like
that whole thing. You know why? Because you would have to repeat the dance number over and over and over again. And I can still hear her in my head go again, again. After you're done, again.
I mean, so like it should give you happiness when you listen to those songs.
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhat of like PTSD and happiness. It's like a mixture of both, you know, like the memories of like dance club and then like late hours work, you know, because we'd go after school. Our school was like, I don't know if you know the academies at Englewood. So it was like from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Right.
And then you'd have 2 hours of practice afterwards.
Right.
So you're there from 8 to 6, almost 12 hours. And then you have homework on top of that. You have school projects. You have your extracurriculars, which are outside of dance club, you know. So it was a lot of that involved. So
along with the Spanish club, like, did you also grow up around cumbia and all of that stuff? Like,
oh, yeah. So I'm Colombian and Dominican.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so my mother's
I thought
Colombian.
You were just Colombian.
Nah, my mother's Colombian, my dad's Dominican. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So I get the best of both worlds. People ask me if I'm half and half, and I'll be like, no, I'm 100% and 100%. because I take everything from both cultures, and that's me. You know, a lot when I talk, I do speak in a Colombian accent because of my mother, and she's the one who like mostly taught me Spanish and everything like that. So I have a Colombian accent, but it also depends who I'm around.
I have a trilingual accent. Yeah. My roommates, they're Dominican, and they told me that. They were like, "Tú tienes un lenguaje triángulo," like. Yo no sé, porque yo puedo escuchar, I can hear the Dominican, I can hear the Puerto Rican, all in one sentence, and then I can hear the English accent.
The gringa, yeah.
So it's like, tú tienes un lenguaje triangular, like, what's going on? I'm like, I know. Well, I'm both. I'm all three. I'm American, Dominican, and Puerto Rican. I don't know.
That's something that I have to deal with, too, like, that we have to deal with, actually, when we're around people now.
Every Hispanic American, I feel.
Yeah, because a lot of it, it's like, you're either too bashful or too like you think about it too much, your accent and how you come off. It doesn't matter how smart you are when you speak a different language or another language. Sometimes it's difficult to get your thought across. Yeah. So it's so difficult to get to find your accent, and then you want to have one accent that you can just do every time. Right. But knowing all these languages, all these languages, they come into play. And and those accents come out, Yeah. And this is like, coach, put me in. You're like, oh shit, no, I'm not ready for you yet. And they're like, nope, I'm getting off the bench. And you're like, fuck. No,
dang. So you must have. Did you ever travel to Colombia?
Yeah, I've been to Colombia way more than DR.
Okay.
So my mom is very family orientated. So we're there for everyone's birthdays. Well, mostly my aunts. There was a time when everyone was turning 50. And they're a family of six sisters and one brother. So there's 7.
Wow.
So
sorry for the one brother.
Yeah. But he's the one who got him out the country. So shouts out to him. Shouts out to my uncle Hector.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go Hector.
Thank you. I had to thank you for him. Anyway, but yeah, it was like 2 or 3. It was like 5 consecutive years where we were going to Colombia every year for someone's 50th.
Oh, damn.
And my mom even went herself for her 50th to Colombia.
Damn.
So it was like everybody, we were always going to Colombia, for New Year's and Christmas sometimes too.
Dang. So you were living it up.
Yo, yeah. So I'm a little bit more accustomed to Colombia. And DR is not that bad. My dad's from the countryside, so I'm in El Campo all the time.
I like the Colombian accent. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
It's definitely like something that's different. Like I don't like the whole Dominican mira tigre, como tú estás.
Diablo loco, pero eso que tú eres okay. I'm just that's all I have to source language when it comes to speaking Dominican. There's a lot of times where they speak proper. And then a lot of times where they're just cutting and dicing and slashing that shit up, and you're just like, whoa, what are you saying?
Yeah, that's all of my Dominican side. That's why I kind of picked up that kind of go, including my father. If he goes off, he's just going off motor mouth, just and I'm like, oh, okay. So I had to kind of, at first when I was little, I couldn't understand him. And I just nodded, I thought, it was you don't want to deal.
American. Yeah, you don't want to deal with you don't understand. You don't know what I'm saying, but I speak Spanish. I'm your father. You should know what I'm saying. And you're just there I'm trying, bro.
Your Spanish is a whole other level.
My motor functions aren't even totally developed yet. I'm trying to focus on writing my name.
Right. And my Puerto Rican side, they never spoke that fast. So it was just a new introduction. I was just like, all right, bye. You're going to have to give me a little bit. And then 2 years later, I kind of now understand the Dominican lingo. It's a whole
other language. Yeah.
It's like the Jamaican to the American language, it's patois. You just don't really.
Yeah.
You may go on, you just don't really.
Yeah. And that's so funny that you mentioned Jamaican, because I have a friend who's half Jamaican, half Japanese.
Okay, so you have a lot of diversity.
Oh yeah,
diverse friends here.
I love diversity. I wanted someone who
I love diversity.
I love diversity. It's just
I welcome it.
Yo, for real. Just the clash of so many cultures is so interesting and exciting, especially when one culture finds another super interesting and fun to be around.
Yeah.
So you see the development, and it's just personality wise and matches, and then it's a whole nother person. I have so many Polish friends who love the Colombian culture. They listen to dembow, they listen to cumbia, they listen to salsa, and they're singing it word for word. And I don't even know 50% of the song.
Yeah.
And I speak it fluently, so it's just like, whoa.
I'm not even gonna hold ya.
Yeah.
You guys know, like the Hispanic world. There's a whole other thing. I know 50% of the music. Not even, probably 20%. I still got to get to know more of our music. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's one thing that I really want to get to, like the history, and even you know, morenitos in the Afro Latino community. I really want to get more involved into that, because even as Latinos outside internationally, when civil rights and everything was going on, they also dealt with racism within their countries. So it's like,
for sure,
it's something to definitely do some research on, because it's interesting, you know, because some of us, we swear that we're not black because we're Hispanic, but when we see these things and going how far they are, it's like,
I mean, I recently realized that because of my mix, I've been able to, I guess, be off the hook more so because I am Dominican, and my father does come from like you know, his roots at least. So I would say I'm mixed Afro-Latino. Like I definitely have that. And so like that was like an awakening for me. And it's like this like situation is happening is part of me. It's part of something that I need to advocate for, that I need to make sure people feel like they can do something, or like not be quiet about it, because like I've been my whole life, of course, like I don't have a lot of features that represent Afro-Latino, or like, you know, very curly coarse hair, or, you know, darker complexion. Like I don't have that. So a lot of people, when they look at me, they think I'm French, they think I'm white, they think I'm Italian, you know, think all that stuff like that. So I'm just very like, okay, that's just kind of like what it was. And now that I realize, you know, more, you know, as I educated myself, especially throughout when it first started coming up, like a lot of deaths. It came up a lot this past couple of months, and I was like, okay, let me do my research, let me educate myself a little bit more. And then I found out, like, oh shit, I actually have some African roots in me. And even though it's not represented a lot, and I was always called a white boy, I was always called like gringo, I was always called that, and it was because you know, even though I grew up in a Spanish household, I would speak primarily English because I was raised in America. So my accent isn't fully there, or like, you know, people are surprised, like, oh, you speak Spanish, like what? You know, that's stuff like that. Even in my own culture, they're like, oh shit, like I didn't even think, like they come up to me, I was in Noches, they spoke to me in English. Like I was like, okay, they're like, hey sir, how would you like anything? I'm like,
you make me want to go to Noches right after this.
¿Me puede dar un tintico, por favor? And they're like, oh, sí, claro, como sea. Sin azúcar, yes, please. And then, so like,
I'm the same way though. Like I was raised in that until I went down south. And I went down south when I was 23. 23 was a tough year for me. I was going through my grieving process. I don't know. I went down south to see the eclipse. It was the eclipse year. And I was like, let me just try to go somewhere instead of me being in the house. And I went there, and that was the first time I've ever experienced racism, because they saw the black in me. And I never experienced that in my life. I remember I was just like you, always thinking like, oh, I'm white. I always get confused as why I look American. Like no one's going to think anything. No, I was treated like I was a problem in the room. I was treated like I was a disgust when I was just waiting in line for my food. I was being followed, like I was stealing stuff. Like I was dealing with the stuff that African Americans dealt with on a daily basis. And it was a wake up call. Like I was just doing stops because it was a road trip, and I was just going through Virginia, and I was just doing stops. And then like that one stop in Virginia, man, and like down south, like the heart of it, I saw KKK flags like posted up proudly in different people's homes. I was like, okay. See, I'm not. I was driving around there feeling unsafe. There was 3 of my friends were all Dominican. Like you got a Dominican and African child in the back, because I was like, this is not. This is not
not for me. I'm speeding through this zone.
So that's what I'm saying. Like that was a wake up call for me. I was like, wow. And then I went home that week thanking every single one of my African American friends, and truly just appreciating them and hugging them and just telling them like, oh my God, like I've experienced only for like an hour what you guys deal with on a daily basis. And like, wow, you know, like I just was more appreciative then. And I was in 2016. So imagine like, and I dealt with the whole police stuff before, like them like discriminating me because I'm from Patterson. I'm from an urban area. So automatically having that card on you. So I can relate to that. But am I going to say, because of that experience, I can say now I know and relate? Before that, no. Just as Jason said it, like, we can't say, like, oh my God, we've experienced racism. My brother and my sister experienced it more than I did because I'm the whitest one in my family. Everybody else is darker.
Gotcha.
So, like, my dad's dark. My grandmother was Haitian and Dominican, so she was purple dark.
Okay, yeah.
That's where that came from. My grandfather was my complexion. So, my mom's Puerto Rican. She's this complexion too. So, it's, like, weird. Like, so I was always, like, the black sheep. And eventually, you know, I don't know, I guess we all outgrew, but my sister and my brother, they dealt with more racism, especially in Puerto Rico. I don't know if in Colombia was like that, but in Puerto Rico, like, they didn't mess with that. Like, if you were Dominican, it was a problem. Like, you would get jumped and stuff like that. And they couldn't tell that my brother and my sister looked Dominican. So,
gotcha.
you know, that my brother and my sister had dealt with a couple things in the campos and stuff that I didn't have to deal with, but I didn't know because, you know, like, I was white.
Right.
So it's like things of that nature, you know, thank God, you know, that now this is the time that we're all realizing it. You know what I'm saying? Did you have any, like, brothers or sisters growing up, or it was just you?
Yeah, I come from three brothers. My mom calls me Wednesday, which is funny.
Because you're the middle?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
And then she has Monday and Friday. Monday is the firstborn, which is my older brother. And then Friday's the youngest brother.
How really? How old is your youngest?
So we're all 5 years apart. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's actually funny. She calculated it. So we're all 5 years apart. My older brother's in March. I'm in July. And then my younger brother's in February. 5 years apart, 5-letter first names, 5-letter last names. That was just because it was a coincidence. But she planned the first names.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then, so my older brother's Brian. I'm Jason. And then my younger brother's Larry. Yeah. And it's like Larry is a nickname for Lawrence. Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, your name is Lawrence. It's like, no, my name is Larry.
Like, it's literally Larry.
And they actually called him in high school Larold for Harold, but like with an L, because you say Harry for Harold and stuff like that. So they would call him Larold. I think that was really funny. So they use like a full name for his nickname, which is hilarious for me.
Okay. So you had three, well, all of you guys were boys. So growing up in a house of boys, I guess there wasn't really that much drama or anything like that going on.
No, I mean, my mom really raised us to be very close to each other. My older brother and I, we went through that phase where we'd wear the same clothes but different sizes.
That's corny.
Yeah, it's super corny. So we're always wearing the same shit. He would wear a medium, I wear a small, and like we always wear that shit. Sometimes we'd confuse our clothes. You know, he would have to take me everywhere he went. I was very like the gum underneath his shoe kind of thing.
What about Larry?
And Larry wasn't born yet throughout that phase.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's
so
true.
I had 5 years with just my older brother. And then when my younger brother came, I was like, oh, snap. I get to be a big brother now. And that was crazy. So, like, I'm here being a little brother, but I'm here like, okay, I'm just going to be a big brother, whatever that is. Because that's literally what I just came to be.
A big responsibility being a big brother.
So
like,
I kind of
like, how did it feel?
I had it a little bit easier just because my big brother was also his big brother. So I was like, how about we just have one big brother in the family, you know? Here you go, just have him. Just here you go. And I'll just play with you. Because like that's what it is like with children who are a middle child. Like that's what happens.
You said the middle children.
The middle children, they usually have problems growing up. So I would
so you definitely did?
Oh, come on. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one.
Yeah, my sister's the middle child, but she's a tank, so it's hard, you know. That's
what happens
when
you become a tank.
Ooh,
yeah,
you're preaching, dropping gems to the middle children.
I'm serious. It's just because you're either too young, you're the youngest of the group, or you're the oldest of the group, and then when it's like in the middle, you have to choose what you're gonna be.
Yeah, and
then your people either look up to you or they really invalidate whatever you say because you're the youngest. And like, oh, you don't know what you're saying, or whatever, or like they disregard it. Yeah, and you're just like, well, okay,
that's me, the youngest.
Then once you have that feeling, all of a sudden your friend groups change, or like whatever that is, and then all of a sudden what you say does matter, and they do take for every single grain of salt like what you say, and then you have your own group of friends. where you're kind of like either. I was also in the middle of my group of friends. I had friends who were younger than me, friends who were older than me, but I had a birthday in the summer, so I was usually the last one to get to 18, for example.
Okay.
So everyone was going like to clubs and like shit like that, and hookah lounges and whatever the fuck, and then I was over here like, I don't got my ID yet, dog. I'm sorry, I can't go, like type shit. But a lot of it, when you are the middle child, you have a big like thing where it depends, like, all right, what do you do in this situation? You have a lot of identity problems
with it being the middle child, because you have a lot of, I can see that you have a lot of outside voices, opinions in the matter from the older sibling, from the younger sibling,
and from your parents. Like,
from your parents, honest, you're like the journal.
Yeah,
you're like the journal for all of us.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, okay, that's great. And then like my mom is like telling me some shit about my brothers, and I'm just like, well, I did everything you asked me to. Why I feel like I'm getting in trouble? Like, why are you telling me this? Tell them. Like, don't tell me. And then that's something that I had to realize, that like she was telling me as a confidant, as someone who's like, I can. Like a journal, like write this down.
You're the journal, because I don't know. It's because you guys are the middle. Yeah, you guys are the glue to us. Literally. So whenever I want to say something to my brother and I can't, I go to my middle child. Like my middle sister. Like I just want to vent. I just want to vent.
I wish that was like prompted with that, because usually it's like not. So like you're just there like, me. Well, I don't have a problem with you. It's like, no. I was talking about like, talk to that person, and like, but like you start realizing
that's me with my sister though. I don't prompt her to it.
I
just do it. That's what I'm saying. Like you're with your sibling. Like she's supposed to listen.
She's supposed to, against her will, listen to what you got to say. That's usually how it goes.
That's how I was with her when I was younger, and I think it's gotten better because I'm like, all right, she's tuning me out at this point.
Right. It's like sometimes you selective listen.
I was like, you're selective listening.
Once you just got to know the key words to the conversation, then you're able to tag back on it. Like, oh, I know you said that. Okay, let me talk to you a little bit about that. And it can just be like general as fuck, not like specific to what's.
That's why you laughed, because I think you've done that to your family.
But the thing is, like, I tune out, but I tune back in. Because like it comes to a point where it's exhausting, and they don't really understand because they've always been doing it, and then you don't also fully understand it either when you're trying to like understand what's going on and want to be the glue and want to make sure everything's good and everything's all right, because of course I love my family, I want them to be good, but after a while you're like, well, damn, I got a schedule and like a to-do list to do as well, and I gotta sit here for an extra 15 to make sure you're okay, and then do what I gotta do.
If you really want to put in that time, but
sometimes, you give them the okay, and then they think it's always okay. And then that one moment when you're just like, dude, I have to actually do this. They're like, all right, okay. And you're just like, okay, like, now you got another thing.
It's like you're enabling a habit is what you're saying. You're enabling the one that you care about and your loved one's habit.
It comes to that. Yeah, it comes to the point where, it comes back to teaching people how to treat you. Really. So once, hopefully, you learn that at an early age.
Oh, which isn't the case. To be honest,
you learn that. At least I learned it in my mid-20s.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Like I'm
still learning it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I'm 26, bro. Like I'm still learning that shit. Like that's really what it is. Like I have to teach people how to treat me, and a lot of the times I was like, all right, this past year was a lot of self-love and self-respect, and having people understand that you can say no. And there's a lot of times where I found myself, even looking back or now, where I was a yes man. Yes, put things on my plate. I was taught to always clean my plate when I'm at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Nothing, no crumbs or nothing. I keep it clean. That's what it is. Yeah. So like that also comes into the metaphorical standpoint of filling up your plate. I used to say yes to a lot of things, even though I knew I couldn't ever complete them with all the things that I have to do. And I'm not just like, oh my God, I'm so busy. Like, that's not me. A lot of it is like, all right, yeah, give me that. And then I might be like, I'll do it tomorrow. Like, like
procrastination.
Yeah. And
that's me.
I was like a pro procrastinator.
Yeah.
Like, I was a fucking pro. Like, and it would always happen, but I'd always have that guilt in the back of my head and my stomach, like, I need to get this done.
And then
but then you're there on the computer watching TV or whatever.
Turn into kind of like bad mouthing yourself. Because you're like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, bro? You were supposed to do this shit. And now you're fucking slacking.
It was so easy.
You're doing the procrastinating thing again. You're not supposed to do this. And when you do that, man, you're not helping yourself. And that's one thing that going through life, you and I had to learn for sure. Because I'm a people pleaser too.
Oh, for sure.
I've always said yes too. And then that mountain just kept boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, it kept piling up. And then you find out like, damn, you got mad shit to do. And then you're just like, well, now you got to be selective. And now after, but that's the thing, like, you already said yes. So now you have to go back on your word and be like, actually, we can't do that. I'm sorry. And then, you try to make up for it.
You got more balls than me because I would have just continued on.
No, but that's the thing. So, like, this year was when I was very like, all right, time to teach people how to treat me. Because, like, I dealt with a lot of things where, like, growing up, because I consider myself an eclectic person. I consider myself unorthodox, unordinary, and just like out of the box. So like when I do things, a lot of it's questionable when it comes to other people's standards or what is construed in today's world.
Correct.
So if you do something, it's like, that must mean blah, 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 blah.
I'm the same way.
So it's just like, all right, but I was weird, not normal.
Strange. But what makes you weird and eclectic?
So it's just because growing up, a lot of it was I'm a fun-loving, outgoing guy. Loves to joke around, loves to make light of things. I can be deemed as immature by a lot of people. So that's kind of like what was happening. But I was always like making sure, like, people are good, people are fun. Like, it may be a stressful situation, but like if it's up to you, if you want to make that feeling feel like you want it there forever, you can always be like, nah, I'm good. Like, I can see the light in it, the silver lining.
Okay.
So I
could do that.
Basically, it was a lot of it had to do with, I guess, how I looked or how I dressed. I was very into fashion at one point, stuff like that. I
can see that.
Yeah, and it was very like it was it was the artist in me, it was the actor in me wanting to dress up and stuff like that. So I did a lot of that. And because I was always happy and because I was always smiling and because I was all this, some people thought I was like homosexual.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't have anything wrong with that, but I have something wrong with when people try to identify me by when they don't know me or they don't ask questions. So like there is a point, or actually I'm kind of dealing with it currently, where I would post, sometimes I post like my results on my story, like, because I'm working out now as a fitness journey I'm taking, or like, I'm just posting selfies or whatever the case may be. And I do have certain people that do hit up, slide in my DMs, stuff like that, who happen to be homosexual. And sometimes they say some really left field shit. And it's just like, whoa, that's not, what do you mean? Like, you want to choke my what? Like, you want to lick my what? And you're just there like, I'm just like taken back by the comments and like what they say. So like, yeah, and it's like whoa. It's like, whoa. I was not expecting this. And I'm like, but the thing is, like, I'm not homophobic. So like anybody's like, giving me like a fire emoji or like whatever, I'm just like, oh, thanks, compliment, like, okay, thank you, I appreciate that, and it can come from anybody and I'll take it as is.
Right,
but then they go
homophobic.
Yeah, and not homophobic, but like sometimes it's considered green lighting from people who think that just because I accepted the comment or the compliment, that they think like, oh, he must be homosexual, or like he must be interested in men, or he must be interested in opposite sex because he's like entertaining this, and he knows I'm gay, so like that's not what I'm coming from. Because
you're a man who isn't homophobic, who doesn't feel uncomfortable, and who could have a last longing conversation. But I was actually talking about this with Vaughn. He was in my episode, The Path to Coping.
Yeah,
he's an actor too.
Okay, and
he is one of those gays that he could get along with all men. Doesn't matter, because he knows the respect. Oh, that I was wondering where was that started coming from. He was like, the respect and everything that he has. He just says that he knows how to put a boundary and say, you know what? I know when a man is good looking, and I know I'm gay, but I also know I can control myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna over here come out of line and disrespect his line, because there's man to man. I respect the fact that, okay, you already just told me that you're this, and I know that you know that I'm this, but you just stated to me you're not interested. Got you.
Yeah.
So
simple as that.
it's simple as that. But there's some guys, you have to understand.
Even after you do that.
Yeah, even after you do that, because he says that in the gay community is just very sexual in general.
Yeah.
It's not like us heterosexual, where the woman just looks pretty and waits for the guy to come to her and makes it a whole process. For man to man, it's like, I want to fuck you right now, let's go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And it gets done, because man to man, it's like they do that. Right.
It became a custom.
Right.
It's customary.
It's just something that's it's natural. They don't have to hold back.
It's
but
not all. It's not all homosexual men either. You know, they're just most of them are that way.
Yeah.
And
right.
I've gotten it firsthand. Yeah, I've gotten it firsthand though. I experienced that, and it puts me in a position like, well, I don't want to say anything wrong, and then them think I'm homophobic, because I'm not. But I do want to set a boundary on what is like, by like, don't disrespect me, and don't like really respect that I'm not homosexual, and that I can continue to do what I'm doing. Because then I feel like I can't post whatever I want to post now, because I know someone's going to respond in a way that as if I'm like some like piece of meat or something like that.
I mean, you being so out of the box in this light, like I am, in your family with your brothers, did you ever get, you know, with your family, did they ever say like, oh my God, why are you wearing this? Why are you standing out like this? No. They were always welcoming to everything that you did.
My mom was actually the one who gave me my fashion sense. She would dress me up until middle school. I know, until middle school. She was like, this top and that top. And a lot of it was because, number one, I used to live in Florida for 4 years. And that's where I went to middle school, 6th through 7th grade, 5th grade too. And it was strictly like dress code, polo shirts and khakis, maybe jeans, but that's on Friday, and you have to have them tucked in. You have to have your shirt tucked in at all times. So a lot of it was like, all right, only polo shirts and shorts. And so she would try to get creative, switch it up, colors and all that stuff like that. I was like, okay, dope. And she was like, you know, even being in Florida, wearing pink wasn't emasculine. It was masculine. Or it was like, real men wear pink, you know, type thing. Yeah. Cameron came out with the pink fur coat, you know, and the whole headman get up. Like, so I was just like, hey, dipset. Like, you know, like I was coming out with the pink, like, oh, fucking flying and shit like that.
Right.
So, but at that moment too, I also had like my insecurities with my weight. I was very insecure by weight.
Okay.
I was the chubby kid in the family. My brothers always scoop my man titties. They'd be like, ice cream.
I
like,
actually did that to one of my friends, because friends of mine that don't know how to respect my boundary. And I had to tell him and put him in his place, like, listen, you can't touch me there. And he still continued to touch me just in the back of my you know, just to give me like a hug or something, but he just did it very inappropriate. I just didn't feel it. And so, you know what? I was like, you know what? Because I know that you're insecure about your fat, I flicked it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I flicked the whole gut. Damn. I said, you want to do that to me? You want to make me feel uncomfortable? I'm going to flip your gut.
She did mad slow, so she's like, hey. Yo, someone came up to me that, so I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
He didn't know how to be, bro. After that, he never touched me there again. That's how you make a man learn. Because I was like, did you like that? He was like, no. I was like, okay, I don't like that neither.
That's how I feel every time you do that.
Right.
That's how I feel.
Yes.
You got it now?
Yes. Okay, you probably were joking around with your brothers when they did that. Though. Like, you couldn't have.
Dude, nah.
You couldn't have taken.
You would think so. You would think so. So the thing was, like, I don't know if you're into horoscopes or not.
Yeah.
But I'm not too much into it. I don't take it for verbatim what they say.
I don't crystal. I don't meditate.
I like to do it as a guide. I don't knock anyone for it, but it's just I just take it as like a guide, because most of the times they do have motivational stuff or like little insights what to do, and I think it's more of on a general scale, so anyone can take their like that quote or whatever, or like you know, sentence of the day or like whatever it is, and like take it. You know, it could be any horoscope, but I'm on the cusp of Cancer and Leo. So I start Leo. So Cancers are known to be more emotional.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I took a lot of what they did.
Birthday?
July 23rd.
My mom's is the 21st. Oh my God.
So yeah, she's very emotional in her feelings type thing.
Yeah, she's a Cancer. My brother's a Cancer. I dealt with
Oh wow. Yeah. So like I had those little like gists of Cancer in me, and then it was very like, okay, very insecure, very emotional. There'd be times where I would like lash out, but then not be comforted. I'd just be made fun of instead. And because I had brothers.
Leos are very insecure too.
Yeah, exactly.
We just don't like to admit it. We're the ones who exteriorly be like, I'm the queen.
Yeah.
But then when we're home, we're like literally going down the list of like all the things we're insecure about. Yeah, that's Leos.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, because you want to like, I don't know, you want to not be insecure.
Right.
And you also want to show everyone that you care, that you have a sense of compassion, that you want people to understand that you'll be there for them as long as they're loyal, you know? And then you do that, and then for some reason you feel like that should be reciprocated, and most of the time it's not.
Oof. Yep.
And then you're just like, well, I put myself here. But the thing is, like, you have that compassionate nature and looking out for other people that you don't stop it. You keep doing it.
You're so speaking into my life. That's so me right now.
Yeah.
I dealt with, the same concept, like where I was loyal to someone, and then when it came time for them to be loyal to me, it was a letdown. Mm-hmm. But you're in that same spot where I was like, I can't even be mad at anyone but myself, because I chose to open up. I chose to be as open and transparent in the time frame that I was.
I chose to believe that people were going to treat me how I treat them.
Exactly. Simple as that. I believe that. Yeah. I believe that just because I was doing so much for them that they were going to reciprocate that for me. But there's some people that are vampire energies, and those people are not really looking out for you. They dress themselves as they are looking out for you, that they're loyal to you, that they are there for you. Right. But in actual reality, they're there because they want to understand what light you have and you carry that they don't have. Mm-hmm. They want to be able to be around that positive bubbleness because they don't have it in their life. So you know what? Let me hang around someone that can show me that. And then they take. They just keep taking. They don't give back. Take, and then never give back. And then at that point, you have to really, in that same light, be like, oh well, it's my fault. But don't blame yourself to a point that you're self-sabotaging yourself. Yeah, that's where you have to be careful. Correct. For sure. Learn from the lesson. Say, what am I going to, I can't open up as close as I did in this situation, and how can I prevent it from the next one? Or it goes back to just teaching people how to treat you, sometimes you really have to just ask. You just have to ask. You just have to be like, well, you're not in my brain, so let me tell you how I feel, and let me tell you what I would request from you being my friend and you being considered a close friend. Mm-hmm. Because in that case, there's a clear communication on what's expected. And then they're going to know by if they care about you or not, whether to use those as guidelines to deal with you. Mm-hmm. If they know that, hey, this person likes, when you get something to eat, get them something to eat, type thing. But the other person does that as well. Yes. They are always looking out for me. They always making sure I have some food or some drink. So it's kind of like observing. Yeah. It's not like you're giving until you're waiting to take. It's like give, take, give. Yeah, it's like one hand in the other. You receive and you give in this one. And again, like I think a lot of people, they set so much high expectations, so many expectations that are super high, and then they get let down. But they're the ones to make those expectations in the first place. They set them in the first place. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, well, you didn't give me what I expected, so I can't be with you anymore. And you're just like, well, if you would have told me. Right. I would have been like, all right, I would have been at least conscious, and then either feel guilty about not doing something and then recompensate, or like do it or ask what you requested. Right. It's as simple as that, but none of us know how to do that. No one really or like people either don't know, or like they know and they don't know. I guess how to say it, or they're just afraid of the rejection, or afraid of the reaction. Or being vulnerable. Correct. Being vulnerable in the sense of like, hey, this is what I asked from you, or this is what it means to be my friend. The way that you just change your voice so quick. It's crazy.
Well, I'm sorry.
I could tell that you're the actor.
Yeah. I'm doing voice acting too, so it's kind of like a little bit of that.
Really?
Yeah.
That must be so exciting.
It's actually really, really fun. It's been like an abrupt transition because a lot of productions, of course, since the COVID is like halted. So whether I worked on a small production just like 2 weeks ago. It was really cool. Small crew, really easy scene. I did a cameo for my friend's short film. It's coming out soon. It's called Glory Haze. It's basically about these two dudes who used to be bullies in high school, and they're watching the news, and the news is covering cyberbullying. And they're like, what is this bullshit? Cyberbullying? What about back in the days when we actually bullied them? Like, called them names, gave them swirlies, gave them nuggies, all this other extra bullshit. It's like, we should teach these kids how to do it. So, like, let's get the gang back together. And I was part of the old gang. And it was funny because the cameo I did, I was basically asked, and I was saying, like, no, I can't do that. We took advantage of the system. We were picking on people just because they were different. That's crazy. I took an oath never to do some shit like that again. And, like, you guys need to leave right now, as I'm putting on a cop uniform.
Damn.
So, like, that's like the little, like, and the side of your butt and belly right there, like, haha, what an oxymoron.
So this is like a legit short film.
Yeah. It was nice. Yeah.
So you're gonna be like a role in the yellow camera.
Yeah. I was in the camera.
That's what I did with Zane and Joe. I had done a little short film called Amber.
Yeah.
And it was a horror short film.
Ooh,
and
I like horror.
Yeah, exactly. I was Janice. I played the evil thing.
The evil thing? Where you were like a demonic being spirit?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yes. I was literally that. And my role was to protect Joe from killing my baby.
Oh wow.
Because he was out here killing babies, all right? He was a serial killer.
Oh my gosh. So wait, who was like the good person in this one? Were you? But you were like evil.
So like if we do another one, Janice will be out. She'll be out here killing the serial killer, going into the homes like animal and shit. Oof. Like she is like a fucking exorcist type shit. Like I don't know.
That's scary.
Well, we're gonna see, but
yeah.
But I'm in a nightgown and the whole thing.
Oh my gosh! You came in like, all right, I'm gonna pretend I go to bed and then go out and kill some serial killers.
It was like a 2-minute film. You know what I mean? 5 minute I think, but it just shows you like the base of it. And I think we're gonna possibly do a second one, but like that, I'm interested in voiceover just as much. Like,
that's literally almost the same thing. You're acting, but with your voice, and it's actually a little bit more difficult than you would imagine.
Yes, because you're in like this 4-wall place.
No one sees you, and no one sees you. It's just your voice. Like I'm working on a podcast right now.
Yeah, you were supposed to drop one.
Yeah, no. The thing is, I'm working on it now. It's a podcast series. And basically what we do is it's a murder mystery, and we're doing it like a film noir, because back in the days there used to be a lot of radio shows. I don't know if you know about it or heard about it, but back in the days when there were no televisions, there were radios. And they would have a lot of radio shows, and there is this one famous one I'm pretty sure you know called War of the Worlds.
Oh yeah.
And that one was on the radio, but the thing was, people were tuning in halfway through and thinking that it was the real deal, that it was an actual invasion happening on Earth, and that they were gonna die. That there's these things crawling and breaking things and abducting people and all this extra bullshit.
Right.
So like, there are radio shows that happen and exist. So I had a couple friends of mine that I actually took acting classes with, and one has a master's in writing, and the other one is like a singer and does like all this extra shit. She's also an actor. And basically we got together, we wrote a script, we wrote 5 episodes. It's basically film noir. It centers around this guy named Benjamin Gumshoe, who's in a private eye, private inspector. And he's stuck in like this film noir world. So like, like all the type of things. And that's his character. And he lives in this world, and he's an inspector, but everyone else around him is normal, just like you and I.
Okay.
So like it brings them and pops them out a little bit more, and they're just like, why does he talk like that? But he's the best inspector. But he's one of those like happens to be for like a coincidence, for some reason he's the best, because he's not really the best. He's like, what he does is very unusual.
Yeah.
So it's like
no one questions it. They just know that he's the best.
Yeah, exactly. So like what he does and what he says is just like, what are you talking about? What the fuck are you saying? What? Fruit Loops? What does that have to do with anything? And then all of a sudden he solves the crime. So you're just like, how, Sway? How? How? You just let me know. Really, you can tell me. You can tell me. No, tell me how. So like that's really what it was centered about. So we did 5 episodes. Each episode centers around, of course, the same topic, but it's different vantage points. So there's 5 characters. Each episode is one character's vantage point and their day that coincides. So we just started recording it now. We're putting together a rough draft of the first couple pages. And it's pretty fun, actually.
I'm excited because there's a lot of podcasts out there that are doing mysteries, horror films, things of that nature, where they're just going on their own creativity, their mind, their scripts, and they're making it come to life. And I actually listened to a couple of them.
Yeah.
And I think they're fun. I think they're exciting. I think even the creators of Rick and Morty are even hopping on that scene. Once coronavirus hit, and then they were like, okay, well, we're going to not make as much episodes, but we could do a whole nother turn of events. Let's do a podcast based on random stories every fucking episode and make it fucking awesome. Yeah. And everybody that's told me about their podcast, they're like, I can't keep up. It's like a whole other world. It's the same dimension to dimension to dimension. In a podcast, it's crazy to follow up, and the fact that they write this before they even have it on air is crazy to me. Like, they have this creative mind, and all of you guys, all you actors and creative directors and all of these people, like, you guys have to be precise in the story that you're saying. It can't really be too bland or to be too, even if it is, you have to make sure that it fits the vision that you're trying to capture. Yeah. It can't just be like, oh, let me just make something.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's how it usually starts, but then you add structure to it.
Correct.
Because that's what the thing is. So you have to make it, in your brain, when you're saying what you're saying, it all makes sense. But to someone else, you're just like speaking in tongues, and they're just looking at you like, what?
Like, you sure you want to do that, bro? You sure it's a good idea?
What are you saying? A tomato does what? You're talking about they go to some dimension, they find out tomatoes have like tickle glands, and then they extract those and like inject people with it to make them ticklish. Is that why people are ticklish today? Because they eat tomatoes? Is that what it is? So you just like, you go all through this tangents, and then you figure out, all right, once you have that all on paper, that's when you really get to piece it together like a puzzle.
So that's
and
exciting.
Make it work.
So you guys took some time.
Oh, we put a lot of time.
Congratulations to the team.
Thank you. Yes,
I'm excited. Yes. What's it going to be called?
It's called Murder on Aisle 5.
Murder on Aisle 5.
Yeah, it's actually a spoof, so it's more like it's funny. Because again, film noir, but like in current days and times, he just sounds weird.
Okay, so before we, I wanted to ask, what was your first performance like in life? Like, you said that in high school you got into the Spanish club and you danced and whatever. Yeah. But what was the very first time that you've experienced, like, I guess that first time of stage fright or going against something transition wise in your creative craft, like where you were like, oh, this is another level and I don't know if I'm ready, but I'm gonna do it anyways?
I think it was definitely musical theater. For me, it was musical theater. So my first actual lead role was in Guys and Dolls. Excuse me, I'm wrong. My first lead role was Damn Yankees. I played Joe Hardy. Okay. And when you're a lead role, you're supposed to sing. And I did sing. I can hit some notes.
You said I can hang.
I can hit some notes, but I wouldn't call myself a singer. So it was very like me not believing in my own voice, but them casting me as the lead. Yeah. And I'm just like, hold the fuck up. I can't sing. What are you doing, guys? And so it was just because I had the acting portion down somewhat. It was good enough for high school, theater. But of course. The musicality of it was very challenging for me because, number one, I didn't consider myself a really great singer. So it was the belief I had in myself of like, I gotta perform this in front of people. But it's like not that it's dancing or acting, because I'm fine with that by this point. It's singing, because I don't sing. I was in chorus for maybe 2 years, and that's it.
What did it make you feel like?
It made me feel like, fuck, dude. And this is live. So like if I crack, or if I run out of air, or like if I forget a lyric and I can't catch the song or the track again, I'm done.
That's how you thought about it.
I'm done. It's the whole school.
But the show must go on.
Yeah, it must go on, and you'll just be like, yum, 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 and that's the song. Yeah, they're like, yum, 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 yum.
I mean, the worst thing is if they throw tomatoes.
Well, yeah.
And I don't think they did that to you.
No, they didn't do it.
I think you held on.
No, the thing is, like, I had somewhat of a rep being the one on stage, because of Latin dance. There was a winter concert where there were actually a couple of teachers who came up to me because we sang Dahudoras, the Who.
Oh my goodness! Are you talking about the Grinch song?
The Grinch, yep.
Oh my God, the Grinch is one of those movies.
But I had the most fun doing that because they gave me the solo of the Grinch.
Yeah.
Where he goes, "You're the mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as strong as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel." And I had the deep voice, but people didn't think I had that.
That's
so when
cool,
that happened, people were like, and I was looking at everyone like, oh shit, I fucked up.
I actually was when I hear you talk, because I'm vocal instructor here.
Okay.
You gave me bass vibes. You gave me first bass.
I'm baritone.
Yeah, baritone. You gave me bass vibes.
Yeah.
You are a baritone.
I was
for
a
sure.
tenor 2.
Yes, I was gonna say that too. I said tenor 2, baritone.
Yeah, that's me.
Wow.
So I'm very comfortable in my speaking voice and in my chest voice. I love falsetto, but it's just the in between that gets me sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Literally what he said is the in between. Okay.
But that performance was fun, and then being on stage too was really fun. Doing the musical theater was fun. It added to my love of theater. Live performances was something that I really liked. And then I got into interactive performances, and that's something I also really liked. And so it just kept coming together, and I started doing improv. That was really fun too.
But wouldn't you think monologues are like hard?
Well, they're hard because you have a message that you want to portray, right? And because it's in the text. But the thing is, what's hard about it, it's attaching emotion to
the text.
And it's not just because like, all right, here I'm angry, here I'm happy, here I'm sad, here I'm confused, and then I'm angry again. It's not as simple as that. You can write that down for it's your first draft of kind of like what your ideal is, but it's stringing them together.
Right.
And then there are other ways to display anger and sadness and happiness and confusion. There's so many different ways. If you think about it in your life, when you're confused, sometimes you're confused as fuck, but you don't show it. And you're like, oh, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then when you're sad, maybe you don't want to show someone you're sad. So you have that buffer there now. There's a lot of layers when it comes to certain things.
To showing each emotion. I never really
and as being an actor too, your body is your tool. And I'm sure being any kind of performer, your body is your tool. So you have to take care of it. But you also have to train it. And you also have to realize when you're an actor, there's a lot of emotional strain on you. Because if you have a character that's requiring a lot of effort from you, you have to first be able to be safe when you do that, because you can get lost really easily
in your character. Okay.
And then that's a fear that I have, but that's also something that keeps me back, because I can't fully be authentic in that character. Okay. Because as an actor, you use your life experiences to portray whatever character is asking from you, whatever a character is asking from you. So you have to do all this backstory shit. You have to like
what character dream role you wish you could play that you feel would give you struggle in trying to
I think it would
debate that
struggle when it comes to like getting lost in the character.
Yes.
Definitely something along the lines of Joker, and I know that's very like popular and common, but it's something that you really can look into, and you have so many great examples. You know, you have
because I think that's happened to Johnny Depp. I think all of the roles he's played eventually got in his head somewhere.
They're because they're a part of you, and when you leave the character is a part of you as well. So it stays with you.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah,
that's
it is.
That's like split personality disorder.
It literally is. It literally is.
So how can you as an actor prevent that from happening?
Technique. So there's a technique. Yep.
Literally, I love how serious your face is. Like, technique.
No, it's true, because that's literally what that's literally what like has helped me and made me realize that if you know how to get into it, that means you know how to get out.
Right.
So in that case, you have process work that you do with lines, with your scene partner. If it's a monologue, with yourself. You become the character. What's his story like? What stories does he have outside of the monologue or outside of the scene? What's his daily life like? All the things like that you think about. And then you start piecing that together. Mm-hmm. But through the process work, and also there's this thing called fourth process where I learned in one of my classes. The fourth process is basically involving movement and your lines to be cohesive with each other. So how you're feeling, because a lot of times when you say words or lines, if you're, however experienced you are as an actor, you want to say it a certain way, and when you're memorizing, you tend to always say it the same way.
Yeah, that's true.
So this fourth process allows you to use your emotion and then bring a line into that emotion. Mm-hmm. And you just usually go through all your lines while you're doing this movement. And you're using this thing called plastiques, where you use your hands and your shoulders and your arms and legs and your body, everything, to just like how you're feeling. And the character could be happy-go-lucky, but while you're doing the fourth process, you may have had a bad day. So you're just doing all this angrily, but like, I like your shirt. Like, like.
Instead of just saying like the way you would normally.
I like your shirt. It's so nice. But like you have that extra ability to attach that line to that movement.
Yeah.
But then doing that also adds a layer to your character. So like, is he keeping a secret? Does he have like a motive?
Right.
Is he keeping that a secret? Is it out? How does he feel? How does he feel that people see him as? How does he want people to see him as? What's his reputation like? Is he a somebody? Is he a nobody? Is he trying to be a somebody? Mm-hmm. Is he trying to be a nobody? Right. Like these are all questions that you ask yourself as an actor. Who is this person? Because, anyone can give him just so much information, but it's up to you to create those layers to make sure it comes off as authentic, just like a real person would be.
That makes absolute sense.
Yeah, and that way, even if they're fucked up, you start to empathize with them. Okay. Just like the newest movie Joker came out. He's a bad guy, but this origin story made you like, oh, that's why. Damn.
yeah. The whole
I understand,
story. Yeah.
Damn, dude. What? His mom. Oh, fuck. I would be even more fucked up than what he did. Like, yeah. Honestly and truly. So like, he came out better than I would have thought I ever come out. Yeah. Type thing. So like, it's all that empathy, and you're just like, wait, hold on. This guy's bad. He's killing people. Right. He's doing this. He's doing that. This guy's fucking crazy. So like, you have that. If you accomplish that as an actor, you won. You did your job.
Wow. How long did you think it took you to capture that or grasp that? Oof. Or are you still
very recent? Okay. Very recent.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, that just goes to show that it's not something that if you're an up and coming actor, it's not something that you can gain overnight.
No, nothing is, and a lot of people think so. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because we've been brought up in a situation like that. And I'll tell you why. It's because of movies. You have movies where someone becomes famous overnight, and it's like believable, and you're just like, that could be me. So you think you can be famous overnight, boom. So a lot of people don't put in the effort. Yeah. I think they're just going to be discovered.
That recognition, that one time where that guy just came in and saw you, you think that's enough?
Yeah, it's not, because you have to get to the point to be able to show what you got when the opportunity presents itself. Mm-hmm. But if you were never training, if you're not working, if you're not, really trying to exercise your abilities, that opportunity comes up and you flub it. It's flubbed.
Was there ever in the process of you gaining more and more in your acting creative roles in life, did you ever have a pivotal point of failure in your creative craft? And what did you gain? What lesson did you gain from it? Instead of it holding you back,
I think it was when I did take a workshop this one time, and they were very like, all right, this is what you need. This simple. All you need is this, that, and the third, yada, yada, yada. And I did it. And then it was like, all right, fam, I'm ready. I'm ready for you. And it never came. And I was just like, wait, but they said this is what all I have to do is this.
Was it this like fancy smancy workshop in New York or something?
Yep. It was a fancy smashy one, and then it was in New York, and it came out to be something where it was just very like they lowballed you or whatever it was. And so you're just like, okay, well, I can either just be depressed about this situation and be upset that I lost this amount of money, or I can use this as a learning experience and be like, okay, because the thing is, there are some great workshops out there, and there are just some great people who can actually give you pointers and change your life for your career for the better. Introduce you to people. It's
just, what are you doing with those tools that they just gave you? Exactly. That is the question.
Or your ideality, your outlook on life. The thing that I learned most about my recent classes that I've taken was, number one, focus on what works. Just look at what works. Every time my coach would ask me, what worked about that scene? And we would just focus on that. I felt good. I felt in the moment. I felt like my outreach was there. Like I really was able to hold the phone, or talk to this person and be serious and be in the moment and feel that tension, right, and feel that concentration, level of concentration. All these little things, and you would focus on that, and then that would just bring everything else up with it once you focus on it. And then the next thing was lead by example. You don't have to talk. Just do it. Do what you should, I don't know, what you believe in.
Do what you believe in without caring about what anyone else around you has to say.
If there's something that you feel like needs to be changed or something, don't just talk about it. Be about it. That's really simple. A lot of it comes from the building blocks when you're learning as a child. Respect others. Right. Do unto them what you want them to do unto you, stuff like that. Respect your neighbors. Sharing is caring. All this shit. It's really straightforward, but it's just there. When you grow up, there's complexities to it. There are people who hold grudges, or they didn't hold the door for them, so I look at you a certain way, or stuff like that. Little shit, yeah. But they snowball, yeah. And then you end up not doing the things that you kind of represent, and then you lose yourself.
Yes.
And then you're just like, wait, hold on. So you're telling me I'm doing this to them because they did this to me, but that's not who I am. So why am I doing that? That doesn't make sense. That's petty.
That's called self-awareness.
Yeah.
Being able to tell yourself, yo, put yourself on check. Wait a minute.
You're not that person.
You're not.
Why would you have to do it back at them if they did it to you? I get if you want to teach them a lesson.
Oh my God.
But at the same time, you're no better.
That's exactly. I was talking to my best friend over the phone about this. I said, maybe that's where this is where I need to build a tough wall, is that I always see the good in people.
Yep.
We just talked about it. It's always seeing the light, always focusing on the light, even in the midst of darkness. Yeah. And I tend to see people as projects.
Yeah.
And even though they are wrong in doing certain actions, I tend to justify it the moment it happens, because I'm like, oh, it's because, they were brought up in an abusive home, alcoholic father, blase. Yep. It's understandable.
Yep.
By doing that, I screwed myself over in so many relationships.
Many times,
yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. So you relate. This is the Leo. I love it.
No, it's so true.
It's true.
It's because you want to see the good in people. You want to give them the benefit of the doubt, And I always give people. The thing is, I do that, but I'm really tough when it comes to giving people second chances. And the thing is, I'll give them a second chance, but I'm I know exactly where you're at now. Yeah. So I'm just cordial with it. Hey, what's up? What's good? I'm not gonna ask you about your day. I'm good. I'll just be, hey, bye, see ya, and then that's it. And that's really what it is. We'll wrap it up.
To be honest, depending on how sharp the pain was before, I used to just, I could still do it now. I just act like they're not even present.
No,
you're not even getting my energy.
Yeah, because they don't deserve it.
You don't.
They don't
After you
deserve
did
it.
what you did, you don't even deserve me speaking or looking at you.
Yeah, because
Yes,
it also comes with a
yes.
point, like, because you know that in your brain, and usually I feel things immensely. Like, I'm very passionate. So, like, when it comes to my brain is immediately connected to my heart. And so, like, it's just like,
My little heart.
my little corazoncito, you know? So, like, it's very, like, I feel that. And then I'm just like, I can't even look at you because it brings back all that turmoil and all those feelings I had. And then, like, if they were positive, like, they're gone now. You know? They're gone. So I'm just like,
They're somewhere else.
Yeah, they're not here, boo boo. Go look for them somewhere else.
He's
man.
like, cause
I
you
dropped
had
them
it.
over there if you want to go pick it up, but don't give it to me because I don't
No,
know.
it's those type of people that I'll be like, listen, there was a table and you had a seat. Okay? You had a seat to the table.
And I brought you plates, I brought you
you
utensils,
plates.
and I even served you the main entree. You ain't do. And what you do?
And then what you do, you didn't do nothing.
Nah, you ate that shit.
You
and
ate
then,
that
and then
shit,
came
and then-
over to my plate and took a shit right on
and
that.
And then
I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want
for
that.
real. And then, but you know, I had no room for your little ass table. So now my table is too small for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So go somewhere else.
Yeah. It's just like, it's just like, yeah, that's the thing. Like, so a lot of the time when it comes to things like that, if they're, for me in particular, what I've learned to do, or what, I don't know if this is positive or negative, but if there's a certain situation that I do not want to happen, I omit every possibility as much as I can.
Omit it, like just.
I was just like, all right, if, for example, if this person's always at this place and we usually would always go there, but then, you know, now there's beef, I'm like, I'm not going there anymore. You know, like, or like, yeah, I can't do that, or I can't walk on the street because I know this is their fucking, you know, travel path whenever they go to and from somewhere or whatever, or they work and this is their work route, whatever it is. I'm just like, I'm good. I'll stay away. I won't text them. I won't call them. I won't post something. If they like it, I'm like, okay, they liked it. That doesn't mean shit. Like, you know, like my shit's public. It can be anybody and like my shit, but like
That's so true.
it's just, it's a lot of it. Like, I'm just like omitting every possibility for me to bump into them, and it's because that takes extra effort on my part, because I'm a really nice person, and like I said, I give people the benefit of the doubt, and if people abuse that, like, don't take my humbleness as a weakness or my kindness as a weakness.
Oh, yeah, preaching to the choir.
Because it's just like, yo, like, I can be really nice, but like, if you abuse that niceness and I found out that you're abusing it, like, I'm not going to be that nice anymore.
Dang.
Like, and just cause like you don't deserve it. And it's just like, I'm good, fam. Like, I'm good, love.
In any of those times, like when you were going through that, did you ever use music or your creativity as like an outlet? Every single transition.
Yeah, when it does happen, I definitely write. So I do like poems and stuff like that. There's a poem here, like I have, if you want to hear it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Go ahead. I love it.
I'll show you right now. Okay. So I have this. It's an anonymous account, but I'm not going to say the account name because it's anonymous. But let me see if I have it here.
That's cute.
Load. Okay, here we go. So this is what I wrote some time ago after a heartbreak. And that's usually the most creative point in my life. Whenever I go through heartbreak, as many artists do have.
Yes.
That it pours out of them. And it just works. And it's because of the emotion behind it. And the meaning for them.
So you just wrote it?
I just wrote it and it came together.
When did this how long ago?
I can't speak on that.
Okay.
Yeah, just because it'd be too obvious. I take care of mine.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it goes, a walking contradiction, a liar speaking truths, the love you inspired, the hate you ensued. If time is money, I spent it all on you. Even now I can die knowing I figured out the truth. Lost in limbo, denying the preposterous fact that your words do not match the actions of present and past. Naive to believe, releasing the steam caused by self-righteous acts, justifying self-care as a reason not to see me. The tip of my tongue burned to ash as these words of false love came to tickle me. I giggled at first, I'll give you that. Giggles grew to a boisterous laugh, and as I gasped for air, I choked. Not knowing what happened, I kept my smile. Thank you.
You're welcome. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay.
So in that particular moment, my heart hurts a little bit right now just thinking about it.
Aww, that's making me feel inside.
I know.
Like that tells me that it's recent. Okay. That's what that just says.
Nah, I just have like a very large I guess like emotional recap or memory when it comes to situations. Like I know what I felt in that moment.
You know what it's called? Emotional addiction.
Yeah, I guess.
Emotional addiction is, I do the same thing. It's like we revisit that memory in that place to invite those feelings again.
Yeah.
And sometimes it provides feelings of comfort instead of me just, there's some people who go on fuck sprees, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not the one to go on a fuck spree.
They do that to try to numb that.
Right. But for us, we escape in our mind.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I
do a little both. I dabble in a little.
He said, I'm not gonna pose it here. I do both. I fuck it away and I emotional addiction away.
It's like both. It's like it's right parallel and they wave together. They say.
Okay.
I thought we were trying to connect here, but I guess not.
I guess not.
I'm sorry.
He's like, sorry. He's like, I'm a man.
I mean, not.
He's a man, not me.
Well, no, but
that's why. It's all right. You don't have to explain yourself.
We can get into that if you want, but I don't think it has to do with gender at all. I don't. But you're right. I hear you though. But yeah, it does involve a lot of that. A lot of like, because again, like it goes back to acting. If you're going to go into a certain position in your life, you use that emotional history to use it as a blueprint for that character.
A blueprint
for that character. So.
I mean,
but yeah, that was just thinking about things like that, and it brings me. It was a situation where I knew my worth, and I know a lot of people think like Leos are very egocentric and stuff like that, but like I really don't register with that idealism. I think it's more so like
we know who we are.
Yeah, we have confidence.
Exactly.
And it's not falsely done. I mean, we know what we bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a lot to, horoscopes really brought that insecurity to me, because like now if I feel some sort of confidence and I display it, then be like, oh, he's a Leo. This guy's egocentric. He's an egomaniac. He's narcissistic, all this shit like that. And I'm just like, no, I'm just feeling myself. And if I feel myself all the time, what's so wrong about that?
People have called me narcissistic because I'm a Leo.
Yeah, like,
and
what?
I'm like,
you don't even know me.
I mean,
you don't even know me, dude.
When did I ever display that in any of my episodes? But okay.
Right. I don't know. It's again, it's a confidence level, and confidence is important. You need that. Like, you're with yourself at the end of the day. You need to know what you're worth. And if you do know that, and if you don't, you better get to know.
No, if you don't know that, you're gonna give everyone else that power, yeah,
to tell you what you're worth, and that's not how you're supposed to live.
To tell you what you're supposed to do,
yeah.
Instead of you putting yourself first and saying, no, I actually don't want to do that. I'm just listening and following orders.
Yeah,
I actually want to do this, and I actually just want to quit, and I actually, just let it all out. Like, it's not about sacrificing your needs for someone else's. Fuck that person. They're not doing that for you. So why the fuck are you going 150% while they're giving you like 70%? And as a matter of fact, they're giving you 70% while also taking from you.
Yeah.
While also feeding negativity to you so they can keep you in their misery, because misery loves company.
Yo, you're telling me,
it's
bro.
Like, they will do anything to keep you there because they don't want to be alone in their misery.
No.
They've been alone in their misery before you.
Yep.
I don't want to go back to that place. I like having him, and whatever I need to tell him to have him stay, he can stay. And I don't care. That's a narcissist, not someone who's willing to admit their faults and learn from it. That is not a characteristic of a narcissist. So if you are out there and you do this and you're over here nodding your head and saying, I don't do this, or that's you. I know that's you. That's you right there, honey. Because a narcissist is one that never likes to admit their faults.
Yeah.
And they never like to say, you know what, I fucked up on that. I did myself wrong. They never do themselves wrong. They never have faults. They did everything right. As a matter of fact, it's everyone else's fault. It's mind-boggling to me. But, you know, if you guys have a narcissist, just stay away from them, okay? They're vampire energies. Okay?
Or let them know it was good. Maybe you can give them a serum and they can change.
Listen, I've tried changing narcissists for the last 2, 3, 4 years. And let me tell you, if that person doesn't truly want change within themselves before you came in, they're not going to change. It's like going to lead a horse to the well to make a drink.
Ba-bam, boom, bam.
And they're not drinking.
Bada bing.
So you're pouring your light into death, literally a dead plant that's not going to grow. And you're going to get exhausted. As he said, you're going to want to like not do anything and you're not benefiting. And that person's distracting you from your purpose, your creative journey. If you're an actor that's coming up.
But have you ever had an instance where you did feel that way? Okay, you're there. They fucked you over, blah, blah, blah. But you still feel like, fuck, yo, like, you're still, like, I feel like I don't want to say I'm such a good person, but, like, you still have that good of a heart that you're like, fuck, dude, I'm going to have to leave this person, but they need help. Like, they really need help.
To be honest, the last person I was really close to, he was kind of like my best friend. He was a person that I felt really bad in letting go because I knew about his circumstances and his situations. But I also knew that he was disloyal to me. So that was kind of like hard for me to be like, I wanted to drop everything. I wanted to take care of everything that was wrong with him. I wanted to be the best friend that he never had. I wanted to be the person, you know what I mean? And I think when he did a slap to my face and was disloyal when I expected high expectations of loyalty, it was just kind of like I really wanted to be there for him and be like, yo, I'm sorry for my betrayal. I'm sorry because I tend to be so expressive with everyone and I'm an open book that I think everyone is okay with me sharing their stories. And I guess that's what, that's what's gotten me fucked over.
So many in trouble sometimes too. And I have to realize that as well. Like even being around people and people, especially around people who ask a lot of questions, I don't lie.
I don't lie neither.
I don't lie. I can't lie.
And people get mad at me and they're like, why the fuck are you opening your mouth? And it's like, is it really opening my mouth? The Bible says the truth shall set you free, honey.
No, and that's the thing. Like now you have to like be careful who you're around now. And you have to be like, you know that about yourself. So you have to be like, shit, I can't be around this person because they're going to ask a question where I'm not supposed to answer, but I have to answer. And then when you're like, my face is really telling when I lie too.
Yeah, me too. I can't lie for shit.
Yeah, I say it and then people are like, I'm just like, I'm not lying.
Yes.
I'm not lying.
Like as bad as I knew, you know, at the time I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have shared the information, but whatever. We learn. And I said I did mistake in that and falter in that, but then he just made me feel like shit. He just made me feel like complete shit for doing it. And I was like, well, how about what you fucking did? Like, bro, like you didn't even apologize. Like you didn't even properly like make it up to me. Like, so at the end of the day, I still, even though he did that, I still cared. And I still was like, damn, but he needs help. He people pleases too much. He puts himself too low. He treats his art like a fucking hobby, and it's not supposed to be that way. And it's like, but at the same time, I had to let go of trying to be the savior, because you and I can relate in that as a Leo. We always try to save people. We want to be the Captain America.
And then I'm over here singing the song, she don't want to be saved. She don't want to be saved.
Don't save her. So
man.
like,
it's like fuck.
Friendships, I've screwed over. Before that person, I've had friendships that screwed me over with that same light. I've had best friends, ex-best friends that screwed me over in that same light.
That goes all over general.
Yeah,
like,
everyone else, my family. So you just got to be real with yourself eventually. One day, grow up and just be like, yo, I do feel this hurt. This is where it started from. It just snowballed into this when I was this age.
Yeah. And
I feel like when we target it, now we won't bring it on to the next person. Like you said, we'll be like, I can't go here.
Yeah, like I know that person, that's their HQ. I can't go to HQ. I'm just asking for it at that point. Like, so I just gotta adjust. I just gotta be like, all right, however much it takes. Like, sometimes it's really hard to do it. And also at the same time, when you're talking about like, telling people what's what, or like people on their own journeys and stuff like that. If we go back to social media, right? And you have people put in like, I think we spoke before we started about omitting things, and whether you have the power to follow them or unfollow them because it's your feed. You get to put whatever you want on your plate and stuff like that. And you have the ability. I think it goes back again with the Bible stuff, Jesus said it best. He was just like, I think, who has not sinned, I don't know verbatim, but if if basically, who has never sinned shall cast the first stone or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot.
Yeah,
But yeah, so like you have people who are trying to do their thing, trying to do this, and then you have people who are putting them down. And then you have like that whole aspect of thing. But like, sometimes it's like if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all.
There's a whole chapter based on relationships in the Bible. And shout out to Vision. Okay. Vision is a graphic designer and artiste. He draws. He's doing my merch. Anyways. It's coming up real soon. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So he taught me this. He's like, this is the holy grail of relationships, how to base them, how to manage them, how to deviate some, how to target the ones that aren't for you. And I said, every kind of relationship. He said, every kind of relationship. We read Ecclesiastes 25. And yeah, he wasn't lying. He said in each verse, he literally detected different kinds of relationships and to beware, to be mindful, warning. He was like, there's people who are wise, who claim that they're the most wisdom, that have the most wisdom, but don't really have it. There's people who consult with you only to consult themselves, but are consulting you.
Yeah.
Yo, like some crazy stuff. I was like, come on. He was like telling me, he was giving us the keys, guys. He was giving us the keys. And none of us weren't even reading it. Yo, I tell you, yeah. I get something different from the Bible every single year, but I always love it. That's one of my favorite books. But any kind of situation in life that you're going through, you can always read it and find a different outlook in it. Like when I was a little girl, I read Psalms 23, and my struggles then was, oh my God, I really wanted this toy, but I didn't get it. You know what I mean?
Yes, every time.
So like when I read it, it would tie into that. But now I'm like, it's deep. It's like, oh, but when that mountain moves, oh, hallelujah. now I'm like, I get you. I get what you're saying, sis. Literally, I'm living struggle to struggle. It's not like about no toy I used to want or nothing. And now I understand why people used to hallelujah and go crazy in church, because the emotions that they dealt with. Really, like I just literally love it. That's the same thing with acting though. Like acting, and in church too, they have pantomimes, people that do that stuff. So it's kind of like the same thing. I did that
in church. I went to a Baptist church.
Oh yeah.
Once. Yeah.
So you know the vibes.
So like that's in college. I took a ASL course, 2 of them. ASL 1 and ASL 2.
Oh, okay.
So like I love that language. It's so expressive. And there's a whole nother world and community out there of people who don't speak. They all sign. And it's just like, what? You can communicate with just visual representations of words and meanings?
You would do that.
And that's what I'm saying. It's so expressive. So it's like right up my alley, and it's just, it's perfect. I think that language is beautiful. And it makes you emotional. It brings like tears to your eyes when someone's like covering a song. Mm-hmm. And, it could be about big booty bitches, but like it's still like, oh my God, big booty bitches. Like, but on a serious note, but like it's like it's so like, I don't know, it's so visual representation and emotional when you see it, because it's like, for someone to have an accent, it's the same thing when you see someone sign. How they sign is their accent.
Oh, really?
The emotion
That's
they
cute.
put in it, their action, how they express and how full they are in their expressions.
That's
grammar.
Oh, okay.
Their eyebrows, their faces, their mouths, that's all grammar.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
So when they do those expressions, that's how they're speaking. That's how they're communicating, I would say. So there's this show that came out recently on Freeform. I forgot what it was called. But they added some features in there where it was an actress. I forgot her name. She has on my IG, but she has autism, and she plays a character with autism.
Right.
And now they have a representation of that. And there are so many other shows too that have people who sign, you know, and they're actors, and they're deaf. So there's like a whole community out there, and they're able to represent their community.
Right.
And there's so many people out there who want to consume content, but they have buffers and they have obstacles and they have barriers to go through in order for them to really understand and really accept it. But they're yearning for the human connection, just like everyone else. So like, I'd love to. That's why I started in the first place. Like, I want to be an advocate for that too. Like, so many people who want to consume, but you know, they have a whole world. You have a whole community, whole world of music. Someone who's deaf, it's difficult to tap into. You can't hear melodies. You can't hear harmonies. You can't do anything. You can only feel them.
However, there were legends who were deaf and blind that created scores. Who made
that exactly.
It's beautiful.
They create, but they can't consume.
Okay.
So that's something that also is like
Beethoven consumed with vibrations.
Yes, exactly. But that's vibrations. You couldn't hear anything.
He couldn't hear anything either.
Yeah.
No. But like, I found that to be so cool that he created masterpieces that we know till this day. And he was deaf.
Your boy Ludwig.
That's crazy. Blind, I can see that because you can hear more. It's like heightened.
Yeah, heightened.
You know, Stevie Wonder. You know.
Yeah. Oh, there's something also I want to bring up. There's so many different love languages, right?
What are the love languages for those who don't know?
I don't even know. There are 4 of them, I think. There are 4 love languages. But there's supposed to be one that's very affectionate, one very, you know, they're very passionate and affectionate, and they want love and hug all the time.
5 love languages.
5, okay. And then they have people who their love language is doing favors for others. That's their love language, like taking out the garbage, walking their dog for them, stuff like that. That's a love language. So you have people. It also goes into expectations. If you're expecting like, oh, I want this, I want that, I want this, and that. But that's not how they display affection, and you want affection from them. That's
so
where you
true.
have to communicate. That's where you have to be like, all right, this is how they show love. So you know when they do certain things, you're like, okay, they love me.
Aw. I think we need to get to know what our love language is, like you said, in order for us to be like, this is what I want. I think a lot of us think we know what we want because we see the movies, the white picket fence. My mom has told me all my life this.
Right.
So we try to fit all of these things that we think is a picture, like, oh, don't ever let a man do this. Let him pay for this. Let him. And it's like, do you even like that? Because there's some girls that I know that come into a relationship and they're like, I don't like my man paying for everything. I want to pay, you know, I want to do 50 or I want to pay majority. And, you know, that you need to find your love language, because there's some people who don't like being paid on everything. There's a girl I know that doesn't like anything like that, because she's like, that means that I'm going to have to depend on him. And he's going to have most of the control of the relationship. I don't want that. But there's some girls who do like that. So it's just like about getting to know what kind of girl you are, what kind of guy you like, you would literally like, not just the one that you claim every girl of her dreams would like. Because 9 times out of 10, when you do get that guy, you'll be like, oh, he's too boring. He's too bland. He doesn't give me the affection, or he gives me too much affection, or he's too nice. And I kind of want him a little asshole-ish. Or, you know, there's always something that just makes you kind of just deviate from them, and then either cheat or you just break up, and then you waste his time and yours, really, because you didn't really think it through, because you thought this is what your love language was. So it's like, it's really, you would save a lot of time by knowing what you enjoy, literally.
Yeah. And just, you know, and there's that also that struggle of, you know, this is how I like to be loved. And then you have, you know, if you're being requested to do that, for example, if you're in their shoes and you're like, okay, your boyfriend tells you, hey, I like, you know, when I'm loved, this is what I feel. This is when I feel love. I feel love through back rubs. I feel love through holding my hands. I feel love playing with my hair. And you're like, I hate doing all that shit. What do you do? What do you do?
You get to
because
know.
It's you, right? It's you. You also matter. What you like and don't like matters. It should in a relationship. It should. Yeah. Compromises are afoot, you know? So at that point, you're like, okay, I hate doing all those things. I can try to do maybe one. Or I can also tell you, this is how I show love. And are you okay with that?
And if you're not, then you should say it.
If you're not, you should say it. And then also, are you okay with it? Yes or no? Not really. Okay.
See, this is the thing.
What can you do? It's an in-between ground.
People aren't afraid to say those things because they're afraid of being alone. Their insecurities voice a lot stronger in that moment than their desires.
Yeah.
So my desire is I'm not truly okay with the fact that you don't display love with the affection and everything that I like. But I'm afraid of being alone after you if I say that.
It's that fear, yeah.
It's that fear. So am I going to hurt him? Is it going to really be a benefit? If I leave him, I'll be alone. And I haven't been alone in like 5 months or a year or whatever you guys have been together in. I'm not ready for that. I'm insecure. So I'm just going to eat the shit.
That's tough. That's actually a toxic relationship.
That is.
Whether you believe it or not, it's toxic.
Right. But a lot of us were brought up in that and were raised in that. I don't know about you, but I know I was. Like, my parents were separated from the moment I was born because they were like, oh, she's the mailman's daughter because I was white. I was the whitest one. Again.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I had blue eyes, blonde hair. I looked like an American child. My dad was like, that is not my child. And he had to do a whole test thing and everything on it and then proved that I was his daughter.
Wow.
Yes. I don't blame him. He was a dark man. And my mom birthed a blonde, blue-eyed baby. And then eventually it turned hazel to brown. But I don't know, man. Like, my dad was just not with it. So,
yeah. It's a tricky situation.
It's a tricky situation. So, like, what do you do if you are like me? An individual like me, who was brought up in a minority area, who's never been displayed or shown healthy relationships her whole life, and also her whole life has been surrounded by a lot of womanizers that also treat women like a piece of meat. So you force yourself to believe that this is the standard to follow. And it's a subconscious thing. So to those women who aren't aware of themselves and aren't aware of those situations, maybe this is the first time you've heard it, but like, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing Reflections with Val. So you guys know that you're not the only ones going through this. And I'm tired of people painting facades after facades after facades on their platforms. Because it's not about that. If it's really about that, let's talk about what really is going on in here, right? And not paint a facade on it because I want to get to a fame or I want to get to the attention. So then you're doing it to feed your own insecurities too, honey.
Yeah, but that's the thing too. I think a lot of people who do that, it's not their ideality behind getting to that fame or to that place. That's not how they're gonna get there. That's because there was just a couple of people who possibly did something that was similar that got them there, but that was true to them. That was true to how they felt. That was their journey.
Correct.
Everyone has their own. I bet if you're vulnerable, if you're authentic, and if you come like raw, if you're out there, doing your own thing, doing whatever you believe in, all that stuff like that, you're going to get more attention. If you have more belief in yourself, Will Smith said this, and he's totally right. If you have belief in yourself and so much belief, people are going to be like, why does he believe in himself so much? Let me find out.
Yeah.
And then that's when you start getting your people and your support group, and they're interested in like, yo, why do you believe in yourself? And you're like, oh, this is why. Well, I see that that's true. And I believe in him too.
Yeah. And
then you have people who are like the same way about the people who are believing the other guy. Why is this person believing in them so much?
It's like,
and it's just a chain. Yeah, it's just a chain of things. So like, as long as you're authentic, as long as you do what you truly believe and you believe in yourself 100%, you'll get wherever you want to go.
That's the key right there. That's a gem.
That's it.
You heard it here by Jason, okay?
That's it.
He said that's it.
Really
before we close though, I wanted to ask, is there anything that you advise a fellow upcoming actor that's going through anything that's stage fright in this journey, or a comedian, if they want to, branch out more, what do you recommend for that person?
So yeah, previously, like I stated before, be authentic. Definitely, seek classes for sure if you're struggling or you think you're in a block. There are many classes out there. I feel like there's some that are definitely like way high end, and they have, you know, their reputation and their repertoire, and, you know, they're all about, you know, Stella Adler and stuff like that, techniques. But also experience is a huge thing. So really just going out there and creating content. There's a lot of success you will find through failures.
Ooh,
and that's the only way you will truly learn, because if you do something, you found out it didn't work out, that's how you find out, by doing it. That's the only way you'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do it and then get your feedback. What did I do right?
Right.
Focus on what you did right. Take that and use it on your next project. And then, be true to yourself. Lead by example.
Yeah.
Lead by example.
That's a key word right there, yeah.
Really, if you're like, oh, we need more compassionate people in the world. We need more people to care. We need more change. We need more of this. We need more of that. Look at yourself first. Don't look at anybody else.
Yeah.
Look at yourself.
A lot of people just say it and they don't even follow it themselves.
Yeah. And it comes with, and I don't mean to get political, but like when it comes to voting in November, like, if you're talking about all this change and defunding the police and Black Lives Matter and all this shit like that, but like you're not voting, you're not donating to fundraisers, you're not donating to organizations that are helping the cause, you're not spreading knowledge, you're not doing this, and
you're just doing it for the trend at that point.
Yeah, and that's clout, and that's the wrong reason why you should use such an important movement or whatever the case is.
Yeah, even when I went to the protest, I didn't even take a picture of myself in it.
There's
I took
no
a picture
need to.
of everyone else because I felt like it wasn't about me.
Nah.
It was about the cause. I felt like it would have been a little bit like calling out of attention if I put myself in the picture.
And that's
with
the thing too, like
the whole fist.
Yeah,
you know?
the thing is, like, yes, you want to show that you support. I totally understand that. But taking the picture is enough. That shows that you were there. You were the one holding the camera.
Right.
That's it. You were there. You were there.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to be in the picture.
You don't have to be in the picture.
There's nothing wrong with being in the picture, of course. But like, I understand like why you would, why people would want to be in the picture to show that they were there, but also knowing that you taking the picture also means you were there.
Yeah, like I don't mind taking the picture of us being present in the moment of action. But if I'm asking for a pose, and I'm like,
it's different if someone else's camera or someone else that was there with a or a photographer or whatever, and they happen to capture you and they were like, hey, look, I actually took a picture of you, here's my information.
That's like off, like what I'm saying, like off guard.
It's candid, off guard. Yeah,
those are candid. I feel like that would have been a great, like, oh my God, I'm in the moment. Like, but if it's like a whole pose thing, now I'm looking at y'all like, all right, this is a whole outing now.
But that's the thing that just makes it questionable when it wasn't supposed to be in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now that I see you're posing, what was your actual demeanor? What are you accomplishing? What is your actual motive?
Right.
And that's where you start getting questioned. And then that's like, okay, you're in a predicament where you're being questioned now, and you're just like, I just wanted to show. Because you have those people, they have their good hearts, they want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have certain questionable moments, and that's just like, it happens, and you can respond and be like, no, I was here for the moment, dude. Done, right? There's some other people, they don't let up. They ask you, and then you answer, and they're like, are you sure? Is that really what? So like, it's there's so many things. There's so many things and so many actions that people take, and then not try to justify, but there are some justifications, like instances. I don't mean to get in a dark topic, and I know we can be here forever and ever.
No, it's okay.
But like there are situations where there are people who have been kidnapped, right? And they're victims, and they're tied up, and they're abused and raped and all that stuff like that. And it doesn't matter what gender they are or how old they are, and they kill their captor, right? You're not supposed to murder anyone. But this is a person who ruined your life, ruined your self-esteem. You will never be the same after that, after what they did to you.
Right.
And you killed them. You have people going to jail for that.
I wouldn't put
because it's a technicality.
Yeah.
Murder. But then you retrospect, look at everything they've gone through, what they've done, how it's been done to them.
One of my friends actually gone through that. She's a warrior to me. She told me that she was a victim of rape. Mm-hmm. And her second child is a product of it.
Wow, that's a constant reminder. Imagine that.
Right. I felt the very same thing that you just felt just now when she said that to me. I didn't know. Right. I didn't.
Yeah. you don't know how to
Right,
process that. You're just like
oh shit.
And like you're like, well, at least you didn't abort him, but like at the same time it's like shit, dude. Like you have to constant
look at
reminder,
your child.
and there's a constant reminder of that day.
Man, on like it's just, and it happened in the Bronx. So till this day,
She don't go there.
She has not stepped foot.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
She has not told her children to step foot. She does. I don't blame her neither. Girl is a warrior. She survived PTS. I don't even care. Respect, because she had like 6 kids.
Okay.
You know, and then one of them ended up being, you know, the product of whatever. But yeah.
Right.
You know, shout out to everybody that's going through all that. And there's hotlines for each one. You know, that's all I gotta say.
There's help. There's definitely places and sources you can use.
Out and you know.
Yeah, even mental health is super important, and a lot of people, I don't know, they don't want to talk about it, and I get that. That's fine.
These are important things that you should talk
mental
about.
health is also important. Mental health and getting help is cool, guys.
Mental health, actually,
cool.
The numbers have been increasing.
The realization of where things come from and why you do the things you do and your emotions, knowing where they come from, gives you so much more clarity and control over your life. And you're just like, I can do anything. You feel powerful as fuck.
Yeah.
And you can go out into the world and know the source of whatever you're feeling and be like, that's that. You can locate it, identify it, and be like, da, 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 da. And now I know how to deal with it because I know exactly what it is. And you can only really do that by either finding out on your own, which is going to take forever because usually you get distracted, and also there's so many barriers of what's actually what's wrong with you that doesn't allow you to find that clarity.
You're right.
You need a third party. You need someone else to help you pinpoint it.
Do.
And then also the first step, which is the hardest, is accepting it.
But you need a third party that's not afraid of telling you and themselves the real nitty gritty shit.
Word.
Because like I said, if you have the third party that's the vampire energy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Then that
you don't
person,
want the vampire. You find a little bit less. You find like the elf
then
or
you'll
something.
find yourself digging into a pit and only doing, what they want and pleasing them, and that you get lost in it even more, that you think you're doing yourself justice when you're not. You're actually just pleasing everyone around you.
That happens in so many relationships, especially romantic relationships, where you're just so in love with the person you don't see what's actually happening.
Correct.
And you have to have that outside perspective, because if you don't, you have to have at least one person in your life, and that person can be if you don't have a family member or a friend, there are professionals out there who can see that and seek that.
That was the situation I spoke to you before about the whole disloyalty thing.
Yeah.
I was the outside person, and I always tried being the outside person. That's why I still felt like it was my job to still be there for him, even though it was already set in stone and already done.
Right.
So it's not my job anymore. It wasn't my job to begin with. It's the realization that I had to come into, conclusion, because it was kind of like, if you're a people pleaser, you don't really think that. You think that you're always supposed to be a savior for someone for some reason. Like, we think it's our job, but that comes from whatever we were brought up in. It also comes from a little unhealthy place if you don't have boundaries. But if you have boundaries with it, you're good. But if there's like no boundaries, then now you gotta really like.
Yeah, you're in the middle of doing two things at once now. Mm-hmm. You're trying to find out what the problem is, while also getting while the problem is oversaturating what's going on. So it's like getting in the way of you finding the problem. So the problem is like putting up other obstacles and things like that while you're trying to look for that problem, and it's like cat and mouse, and you're just like, oh shit, like I need to find it.
It's a whole process, guys. Yeah. It's a long journey, but it's not going to happen while you're getting frustrated in that process or in that journey neither.
Yeah. And also just, it goes back to kind of like a little bit of, towards acting and towards anything in general, really what your goal is. As long as you're working towards it and you don't stop and you're consistent and you're resilient, you're gonna get there. And you shouldn't base anyone else's timeline with your timeline. You have things that you're doing in your own time, in your own timeline, and you're getting them done. As long as you have that goal, as long as you're working towards it and don't stop, you're gonna get there and achieve that goal eventually.
Yes. Okay, gems. Is there anything in the future that we have to look forward to? Upcoming events, things that you're planning on working besides the podcast that's coming up that you guys could follow that soon?
I've just been bulking up my resume, really. I got a guitar for my birthday. I got myself a skateboard. I'm just really bulking up my resume at this point.
Me too.
And
actually, I'm planning on doing piano lessons soon. So
nice.
I'm doing that, and then I'm incorporating my singing lessons, vocal lessons, because I want to get accustomed with the skills.
Right.
Because I already know vocal lessons. I just need to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do all that on the piano. Okay.
Yeah.
So once I get that going, I'll be in there, lessons, whatever.
Exactly.
But yeah, like that's exciting. Like I want to do voiceover soon. So like I want to work on practicing that if I could get in classes or something of that nature.
Yeah. There's so basically I found a website I actually found through TikTok. Where there was a video game developer who was looking for people to voice over his characters, and he was holding auditions. But he was holding auditions on this site called castingclub.co.
Okay.
And
see, I never really took those sites because I always thought that they were out.
Oh
for
yeah,
money.
exactly, and that's the thing. So you have to be careful with those. But this one is actually free. So what it is usually it's mainly for anything that has to do with voiceovers, games, animated series. There are fan clubs who do dubs for animes and stuff like that. And also video game developers too. They're looking for like a pilot or like a demo, and they need voice actors.
Yeah.
So they put it up. Some are paid, some are not. And they have them all listed there. All you have to do is really apply, and they give you like a few lines to read. Right. And it's a public forum, so you can even look at the auditions that are being submitted.
Okay.
So you can like click each one and listen to them and be like, oh wow, this is really good. Like
that's a little embarrassing.
It's embarrassing, but at the same time, like
it goes to show what's out there.
It goes to show what's out there. The platform it's on. But I think it's really helpful, especially to a voice actor, because they also do offer classes. I'm taking one in November.
Okay.
So I hopped on that because I was looking for a voiceover class specifically for voice acting. And they were the first people to come.
It's an online.
It's Zoom, yeah. So it's about 6 weeks. So it's not that intensive. I think it's twice a week or once a week.
Okay, it's not that bad.
It's not that crazy, and it was a little cheap, but like it's more of like a 101 kind of thing. So like here's the little tidbits, what you need, what's good, breathing, finding your voice, being comfortable. Breath is a huge factor. I'm pretty sure anything that has to come with sound from your mouth and your throat and your vocal cords.
Projection.
Your registry, yeah. So it's finding things like that. And then, so yeah, I've been seeing it, and it's great because since they give you little lines to read, you can build a voice reel off of just doing that. You don't even have to submit to projects. You can just record your voice with whatever lines they give you, because that's usually the most challenging part that I found is finding material to read or perform on a voice reel to put it on there or create a voice reel. And a lot of the times, because I have a backstage account, so I see voiceovers and I'm like, okay, great, I can do this, and then sometimes they don't give you scripts and they ask you to submit a voice reel and you're like, I don't have one.
Got it.
Yeah, and then that's when it's a problem, because now you can't submit. So that's usually what I kind of like hit head on, and I figure, that's the thing, like you learn as you go.
Okay.
And that's what it is with me. Like a lot of it is through experiences and working with other people, grabbing little bits that worked and that I liked from them, and just like involving it and incorporating in my craft.
Okay. And, so we're going to see some voiceover, Jason.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. I'm doing like 5 different characters.
That's awesome. Okay, you're going to be busy.
Yeah. But it's great. I set up my own little studio. I got a microphone.
I mean, so hopefully soon next year when events open up, you'll be more.
Yeah. So like there's areas, of course, like Florida and Texas. Unfortunately, the COVID count's high, but they're very more lenient on those kind of laws when it comes to production. Mm-hmm. So hopefully in the future they're starting to make more protocols, making things more safe. And they've already started production in other movies and stuff like that already. So things are starting to come into production, hopefully sooner than later. But I heard like usually October, November is like when things are really gonna pop off.
Okay.
So right now, again, I'm just focusing on booking up my resume, the podcast series that I'm working on right now. I'm hoping to release that at the end of October around Halloween.
Okay, perfect.
And then also like really work on making my own content as well. Because that's something else too. Shit, I can tell this forever. But like, there's something else too. Like I have trouble on because I want to come up a certain way, right? As an actor, I want to be a film actor, A-list, right? Right now.
But doing that, you know that's also a wall that you put to yourself by saying that you want to be A-list, but you have to understand that to get to A-list is a whole journey and a whole process. You have to make mistakes.
Oh, of course. Okay. Of course. I'm not going to get there right, like from now to there.
As long as
that's
you're
not what I'm getting. No. I have to earn that.
Correct.
But that's the thing. So I want to be A-list actor, film actor, but I also, I'm kind of kept at bay because I need a script, I need an idea, I need, crew, I need a camera, I need a director, I need a group.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, to make all those things happen and then be dependent in that case. But there have been so many times where I want to do it and things have fallen through the cracks and then I don't get them done. So now I kind of have ideas that I want to create myself, I want to make myself, I want to do, but then that falls in the line of being like a social media, like not influencer, but like social media famous. And you get stuck there. Not
necessarily. You don't always have to get stuck there.
Right. I know. I agree. But that's the fear I have. That's my block.
I mean, if you're successful, it shouldn't matter if you are going to get stuck there or not. Because the whole point is, that's the thing for me. Like, I always remind myself that in my purpose is to heal. And whether that's through speaking, singing, or whatever I do, I just want to heal. Right. Yeah. That is my purpose. Yeah. Right? It's not about the fame. It's not about the likes. It's not about the video. That's a perk. It's going to get me closer to that, but it's not, my goal is not to be this world renowned speaker. Right. My goal and what would make me happy is literally speaking and healing and singing to others. And as long as I get to do that, and as long as I get to only do that and get paid, then I'll be happy. Right. And I'll be grateful. Right. And I'll give back. But that's all. I feel like all of those other things are just distractions and are things that we tell ourselves. It's kind of like a security blanket,
Yeah. Again, it's the fear of getting stuck. So that's why I'm not, of course, I don't knock anyone for doing that. I think it's just this is a goal I set for myself very early, very, very early. Very early. Yeah. Very, very early. I was like, A-list actor. That's what I want to be. Film. And I didn't want to come up on YouTube, even though there's so many successful people on YouTube. Yeah. And then I don't want to come up on IG. There's so many people on Twitter. I have so many people. Like, that's just something that I don't want to be associated with. And that's just my personal choice. So then at that point, I want to be able to come up through solely film. But then that's like, that's something
you do know that by like, why don't you? Like, what's the whole issue with that? Like,
it's the fear of getting stuck. It's the fear of getting stuck in there. Yeah, I know. It sounds foolish. It sounds very foolish. It's just, that's what.
So this is my fear. Was my fear. My fear was that I wouldn't get to the best version of myself before my fame caught up to me. That to me is a greater fear, because what happens when you're in the motion, you're in the process, you're going, you get to this big fame thing, you're finally in the lights, but you fuck up because you did not work on yourself not one bit through that whole process, and you're not grateful, you're not happy. You missed the process, you missed the journey, because you were so stressed and so busy with all the chaos around it instead of you just focusing on what you truly loved. And that to me is way worse than me being stuck. I agree. At least I'm stuck and I'm making money. Yeah. But what happens if you have all the limelights and everything that you ever could have wished for taken away from you, and you were the one to take it away from yourself, not anyone? That is, to me, my biggest fear. And that's why it took me so long for me to do this, because I was like, I have to be the best version of myself before I even touch anything. And then I realized I don't have to be the best version of myself. I can work to be the best version of myself and include my audience in it. Because I think there's something more raw and true and transparent about that than me trying to pose to be this perfect, oh, this is my show, Right. It's just like a whole thing. It's if you're speaking truth authentically to yourself, it shouldn't matter what everyone, I think we get so caught up because we see everyone else's good image. You have to keep in mind that people can pose themselves to be whatever they want on social media. That's why it's dopamine. That's why it's fun. When we get a like, when we get a comment, we get that feeling released. It gives us that comfort, that we get when we have sex and we take an e-pill or whatever you want to call it, and we get high. That's literally what happens, right? So here we are looking at all of these other pages. Who knows what they had to do to see that 10.1K on there? But you wouldn't know that because all you see is their image that they're fronting on. So you let that cloud your judgment and cloud your mind and your image and your purpose, that you're like, oh my God, if I want to be big, I have to get these, 10.1K followers. Look at this person. She has this. This person has that. This person has this. This person has this many views. This person. You get lost in that. You now lose your track and your purpose. You're not focused on your angle. Mm-hmm. Now you're paying attention to all this. This is your focal point now. Not that. That's what started, but now you're too consumed.
Now you're lost. Now you're
too consumed.
Instead of being a producer, you're a consumer now.
Exactly. You're being consumed about all the influences around you. And I'm not knocking it because I also been in that. And that's why I'm talking about it. I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying, like, this is how it is. And when you allow that to cloud you, now you start shifting your authentic vision and your creative craft that you set out for yourself, because you're like, this person looks like they're getting more attention and they look better. Let me try to do that pose the way that they would do it. And it's like, now you're not being yourself. Now you're trying to be someone else because you're trying to fit a standard. You're trying to be famous because you're trying to do this, and you lost your purpose. You lost the reason why you were in it to begin with. And it's like, you can't do that. You can't lose yourself throughout the whole process, getting involved in all that stuff. And then before you know it, once you get it, you are the one to take yourself out because you were afraid of being real with yourself about all the shit you needed to work on. You backstabbed a lot of people along the way just to get to your fame, and you didn't want to face it. But now, that person came back and ruined your career. Like, there's so many things, but whatever. We don't want to talk about it. It's easier for us to ignore it and put it under the rug until it's an issue or a mountain that we have to know, like, literally, this is how we have to face it. And that's what I just feel like, as long as you stick authentically, like you said, to who you are, what you do, and you believe your goal and your vision, no one can stop you. People will try to be like you. People will try to pose like you, but they will not deliver like you do, because only you feel that way. Only you can express your way the way that you want to be expressed. They could copy, but they know it's not authentic. As he says, when you're authentic, it shows. When you're not, it shows.
That's true. It's true. You can always tell. You
can always tell. Stop trying to pose and start looking in the mirror and really getting to know the girl and the man that you're looking at. Not what everybody else wants, not what you think standards in society are. What you sometimes you have to go back to your childlike places. Like, I told myself, what did I like when I was when I was like 10? I had to go back to that place, to that imaginary world, creative place, to capture more ideas. You're not going to find that by asking your friend. You're not. No. Your best work comes from within. And he's not lying when he says that, like, I totally agree with Jason on that. So you guys got this. Just be more confident, and if anything, give Jason a DM. If you found anything, like, in this episode, any helpful or any way, if you're an actor who's coming up, this is the second actor I have on the show, so this is, like, pretty cool. First I had Vaughn, and now I have you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also down to collaborate. It's also great to work with other artists and just, like, really voice your opinion and your vision and what you want to see in the world, and then make it. I think that's a great process. And then at that point, it may not even be what we first started with. Yeah. And that's the whole part of it. It's always going to morph and change to how we feel that day or what we saw that happened in the world. It's always going to morph and change, and the meaning of it is just going to flourish and just become this whole another thing. But it's going to be yours. Yeah. Because you brought it to life.
Of course.
So it's just like, it's amazing what people make, with it's just simple ideas and make it into reality.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. Thank you for coming on. Oh my God, I appreciate this. I feel like we just had like a whole therapy session, and I'm cleansed.
It feels good. It feels good.
It's refreshing. Yeah. And before you came here, he was a little nervous.
But that's also good. That's also another point for actors
Ooh.
or performers in general. If you're nervous before performance, that's always great, because that means that performance or whatever you're doing is important to you. And also, you can guide that energy positively.
Okay.
You use it. You don't try to suppress it or hold it down. You let it flow through and give your performance that energy. And it's your energy, and you're giving it. And then people in the audience, they're going to feel it and reciprocate it. And it's just going to be a constant cycle of energy, back and forth. And you're just living off the crowd, and they're living off you, and it's just symbiotic. And you're just there in the moment with them. And you feel all that.
That's exciting.
Yeah, you feel all that. Again, it goes back to science. If you took basic chemistry, I think it's the third law. I don't know.
I might have to do a little acting course with you or something.
Yeah, no, but listen, honestly, it's matter can neither be created or destroyed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds like a plan. All right.
Yeah.
So once again, where they can find you?
They could find me on Instagram. I'm usually the most active on there. Sonlix, SONLIX.
And then you can find me and this whole show at Reflections with Val on Instagram, Spotify, SoundCloud, and of course Apple Podcasts. And then you could find the page on my personal page on Sophily_Val. So yeah, see you guys very soon.
All right, take care. Thanks, Val.
You're welcome. Mm-hmm.